Developing news out of Indiana, where the state Senate is gathered to debate a new congressional map that would make it much easier for Republicans to sweep all 9 of the state's U.S. House districts. The state GOP moving forward with the effort at the urging of President Trump, his supporters, and Turning Point USA, which is now threatening to help fund primary challenges to any Republican state senators who do not get on board. Let's hear what lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are saying.
The concern that I have on the issue is that it's not a binary choice. I don't think between redistricting and get a 9-0 vote. I'm a Republican. I want the United States Congress to be controlled by the Republicans. I think our nation is better as a result of that.
Will one person be able to represent the diversity that exists between our rural communities and our urban communities? And we want to make sure that each community has the representation that's needed. And right now we know that the way that the maps are drawn, we've got Hoosiers all over the state who are going to be losing out on cohesive representation.
All right, let's bring in NewsNation's Alex Caprariello live in Northwest Indiana. So, Alex, there is this threat, this primary threat. It's because not all Republicans in the state Senate are necessarily on board.
Yeah, that's what makes this so interesting, Nichole, because it isn't necessarily a partisan battle. We're even seeing some folks on the right side, state senators in particular, who aren't necessarily willing to step right in line with the Make America Great Again movement and President Trump and the wishes in general of the Republican Party. But as we know right now, about 2 hours away from where I'm currently standing, that battle, that discussion is going on with the redistricting effort really at the forefront of everything. It's a much different scene this time around compared to 2021, where that process really took months. Right now, we're seeing this on the fast track with a vote happening from these state senators by as early as this Thursday. We'll see exactly how quickly it rolls out. Let's take a look at those maps there. On the left-hand side of your screen, that's the way that it's currently outlined. On the right is what President Trump wants to see in place before the midterms, essentially diluting that Democratic influence in the state capital of Indianapolis by splitting it up into smaller fractions. You can see one of those districts really extending about 100 miles south all the way to that Kentucky border. If approved, it would take the already sizable Republican congressional majority, that's currently at 7-2, and give it a unanimous 9-0 advantage. And we're seeing a lot of national organizations really get involved in this state race, particularly Turning Point USA, founded by the late Charlie Kirk. They're throwing millions of dollars in this race. Here you can see Turning Point Action, that PAC from that Turning Point USA, gathering at the state capitol over the weekend. Really, this is becoming a make-or-break moment for that organization, and really a lot of eyes are on it to see just how much influence and power Turning Point USA has ahead of this midterm elections. But as we talked about, those state Republicans that are holding out at this time, there's a handful of them that are really stubborn right now, and President Trump pointing out to them in specific, calling them out by name on Truth Social, saying that they, quote, need encouragement to make the right decision. And now there's been backlash ever since that Truth Social post. Some of these Republicans now facing the threat of swatting calls, intimidation, and other forms of harassment. But speaking to voters here in Lake County, some fear that this redistricting battle could take away their voice, could take away their votes. Others at the same time see this as Indiana's way of following the pulse of the rest of the country. Take a listen.
I can't imagine why we have to change this now. And Braun, in my opinion, he's a Trump. He's a MAGA, and he just wants to appease him.
I'm fairly unbiased. I think that it makes sense. I don't think we're the first people to ever do it. One of those things, if other states are doing it, I think Indiana should be able to do it too. If it levels playing field across the country, I think that that's what we're after, right?
And that last Indiana voter you just heard from is not wrong. Take a look at the rest of these states that are undergoing or have already followed through on their redistricting battles. Namely, for the Democrats, the big one in the spotlight was California, following what Texas was doing in terms of California. They were able to flip 5 congressional seats to their favor, too. So it is really happening on both sides of the aisle. But right now, obviously, Indiana in the spotlight as the next one up. Beyond Indiana, too, again, back to the Democrats, we're looking at Virginia. Those Democrats there are signaling that they are willing to enter this fight as well. Nichole.
Yep, we were seeing that debate play out live there on our screen. All right, Alex Caprariello live in Indiana. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.